Hello, and welcome to Keeping It Real with Shannon Live. You're friendly them because you don't know how it's going to turn out.
My kids empowered me to get
What's
out.
going on with this remote learning and in the midst of COVID?
Working for different elected officials, learning and understanding how to put the community first.
The loss we carry a sea we must wade. We've braved the belly of the beast.
This land is your land. This land is my land.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound.
Constitution of the United States.
So help you God?
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Kamala Davy Harris, solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
And each of us has a duty and a responsibility as citizens, as Americans, and especially as leaders.
Hello, and welcome to Keeping It Real with Shannon. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday, and we want to start the new year right. And tonight we got some good, hot topics to talk about. We're going to do some real talking. So I want to bring my guests on tonight that's going to be joining me and my co-host, Dr. Vanessa DeDanzi, and our other guest, Ebony Woods, and Reverend Tamara Jackson. Welcome, ladies.
Hey. Hey.
Well, girl, you know we started off this year with a bang.
We sure
attacking the Capitol. I don't know what is going on. But anyway, we was excited about well, I can't speak for everybody, but I was excited about the inauguration, just the idea of seeing President Biden and the Vice President Kamala Harris get in. It was like now is a chance for healing and a chance for us to move forward in the new year. And I think that's what we should do, is forget about what happened in 2020. First of all, I just want to thank God I made it into 2021.
Amen.
So looking
For
at
that.
the inauguration gave me hope. Just to see new leadership coming into play with singing, and you know, our young lady with the poet and the Reverend, everybody. It was just good. So what did you think about the inauguration?
It was definitely a different atmosphere. It came with a warm feeling, something different, not outside of the norm. But it's like, wow, we have grown beyond the scope of history, and making a difference today,
I thought it was great because we have two people like by President Biden at this point and Vice President Kamala Harris, and they are able to right their wrongs and to do it for all of America. So I thought that was really dope for the both of them to have the opportunity to stand in front of the people and say, you know what, we're going to do it differently. And I messed up, and now I'm going to make it better.
Absolutely.
I love that, Ebony. Yeah, it was for me, I found myself like hopeful, like really, really hopeful. And I found myself like crying, like, it was moments that I was crying, but not only in the moments that one would anticipate, like, honestly, I wound up crying when Pence and his former Vice President Pence and his wife were coming out, and I had to evaluate that. It's like, yo, what is that? But it really was about just relief and release, right? Yeah. Because the last 4 years was hard, but in particular, the last year was extremely hard. Yeah. And I was just like, it was just so, and like I said, without any control of my own, it was just like, wow, You know, this it was like an exhale. That's how I explained it, like an exhale.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah, you've been holding your breath for 4 years, right? And then you were finally allowed to just breathe.
Wait a minute.
Exactly.
Well, I tell you, I cried through the whole ceremony.
But wait a minute, holding our breath in a pandemic. So we
That's
like
right.
two double whammies.
That's right.
Hello.
That's right.
Hello.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah, but you know what? During the time of the inauguration, all that kind of stuff, I just forgot about the pandemic. I didn't even think about that. I know it's a crisis and important, but like you didn't even want to think about that at that time. It was just like it was like I was saying earlier. I felt like that we was having some kind of church ceremony or something. It was like peaceful. I think I enjoyed it better without the people being there, the crowd being there. It was like
Yeah,
much
it was
more peaceful.
definitely a lighter day.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
to see children, I had streamed it for the students at my center, to see them watching it and in awe. I think that was the first time besides Barack that I've ever watched an inauguration with my daughter.
Exactly.
The whole election is historical. You know, from when he starts naming the cabinet, the diversity. That's what is really
Absolutely
the dynamics of what we've been living under.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point, Vanessa. And just because we're talking about kind of what made it different, it wasn't just that the people weren't there. It was like the content was more substantive, you know? And so I remember them saying at one point about the evening, and it was like, usually it's like a bunch of balls and it's like, it's pomp and circumstance, basically. It's a bunch of lobbyists. But I swear, like a concert for America, I think they called it. It was absolutely beautiful. Those were the most spectacular fireworks that I have ever seen in my life. I mean, seriously, those were them. And I hope it showed them, even when we're past this pandemic and restrictions as tight as they are now, that incorporating something new and fresh is not a bad thing. America prides itself so much on tradition. And yes, tradition is good, but a lot of traditions are stale and need to be revitalized. And I think that was the beautiful thing about the Biden-Harris inauguration.
There's no room for growth.
It was fresh. It was fresh.
Well, I was glad that they didn't have those balls because I didn't want Biden to get too tired and fall out on the stage. But that was just they were too long for him. Now he knows he has to go home and get rest. Now I'm worried about him.
Listen, he got 100 days to make it right.
Well, if we can handle commanding chief that eat Big Macs and everything unhealthy, I think we'll be all right. I'm just saying.
Well,
and Diet Cokes. Did y'all hear? It was a special button he had to get his 4 or 7 Diet Cokes a day. Yeah, it was like a button that he had installed in the White House. I'm telling the truth.
Well, you get some energy Cokes in there, then
like a red button.
Whatever the method to the madness is, I'm glad we pass it.
Hello.
That's right.
Amen.
But you know what? I mean, it was just very chill for two when Vice President Kamala Harris was being installed, when she was being sweared. They were swearing her in. I mean, it was so emotional to see her there because it's like, it was almost like with Obama when that night when it happened to him, because we were saying, are we actually seeing this? I mean, is this really happening?
That's right. Yeah.
So it's almost like you got to pinch yourself to say, is this really happening?
That's right. That's right. And it was even powerful when they saw her in, right? Well, like, I mean, the whole thing, right? These two powerful women are these two women who made and transformed history, right? So Justice Sotomayor too. She was the first too. And so it was awesome. It was awesome.
That's what I say. It was just so emotional. And then when our young lady, the poet came up to speak.
Yes, Amanda Gorman. Yes.
She put some heat in the way.
She dropped every mic there is.
That's right. Yes, she did.
She was awesome.
Yes, and so poised. And so poised.
Yes.
And you know that's so happy because she's young. So this way now she really got a long stretch that look, that girl gonna be a millionaire. She gonna be famous now.
Yeah, opportunity.
But the best part about having her there, right? It was intergenerational. So my daughter looked at her like, I can be her, and I'm looking at Vice President like, wait, I still got time. I can do that.
I know that's right. I know that's right. I know that's right.
Intergenerational. It was
exactly.
Really
and Lottie, you talked about the money. I'm not thinking Amanda is just like President Biden is an inspiration because they overcame a hardship, right? Where other people was trying to write them out, make fun, this whole bullying thing, when you're a kid and you can't pronounce things a certain way and stuff like that. So it was beautiful to witness two people elevate and overcome,
Yes.
And
it give hope to those kids.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, but another good thing is afterwards, like I said, they talked about the organization that she belongs to, World. I think it's called World NYC, where they work with young poets. They had a director on talking about it, and so that's why that was an example. I was saying, get your kids in some kind of program with something that they like doing, because that helps to enhance, their skills. It makes them want to do something. It makes them want to be something because they're around other people that's doing what they like doing. So that organization that she belongs to is an organization of young poets. When they showed them, they were all like excellent. They were all like excellent.
Yes, but Lottie, are you aware she has her own organization as well, where she bringing young kids to teach them how to write and express themselves and with poetry.
But see, that gave her that determination that she want to do something on her own to help the kids, and because of what happened, but then being in this organization. Because I always see when I belong to something, when I can learn something from what I belong to, then it encourages me to do something for somebody else.
Right. You pay it forward. Absolutely.
That's right.
Exactly.
And I can't wait till her 2 books come out in September.
Oh yeah. That's what I'm telling you, money. Okay, we're gonna talk some more when we come back. So we're talking today with our hot topics, and we'll be right back.
George Floyd. His name was George Floyd. Say his name. Say his name. George Floyd. Say his name.
Say their names. Once again and always, we fight for justice. Black Lives Matter. Go to blacklivesmatter.com.
We was, we're reminiscing the inauguration of what we thought of it. And also, I want to make sure I mention J-Lo. She was really good too. J-Lo sung really well. I never kind of seen her singing too much slow song, but she did a really good job. And Garth Brooks came in. When I say Garth Brooks, he came in and he sung his song, but was wonderful. But I really enjoyed Biden's speech. I think he pulled it together.
Oh yes. I was quoting and putting on social media.
Very touching.
Little tidbits,
very touching. His
for the people in the back,
That's right.
It was that came from his heart.
Oh yeah.
Unscripted and from his heart.
Yeah. Did you hear him speak today?
No.
He did. When he was talking about this round of executive orders, and he was talking about the things he signed in place to deal with or begin to address systemic racism, that he signed the order not to renew contracts with private prisons.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It was
wow.
It was
fire. I did.
And you're talking about restoration right now?
Yes. So when we talk about hope and feeling hope and healing, it's good to see steps toward that, right? Not lip action, but action. Because us brown folks, we've been, heard people's lips smacking to death,
That's right.
literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was awesome. It was
And
awesome.
the only thing is that, is I'm glad he was able to put in some executive decisions and stuff like that. But the hard part is going to come now is working with the other party to make sure that they can come together and work on the issues that need to take place, like this, $1.9 trillion dollar budget that he wants to do with his stimulus and people that's unemployed. He has a long fight ahead of him for that. That's something all on top of the rest of them's head and wake them up to know that, it's just time to move forward.
But that falls on us, right? Because those are the people who we put into office. So this is the year of accountability. So if they're voting against things that we don't want, we need to be at their door. We need to be calling. This is the year that we showed and made everyone a believer that your vote counts.
That's right.
Though we said it with Obama, though we said it here and there, the way how they hit the ground, Stacey Abrams in Atlanta, she showed everyone your vote counts. Now it's up to us to keep that momentum going.
That's right.
Everyone who we put in place, we need to hold accountable. And if you're not there, we need to see how we're going to get you out of there and get someone else in there before your term is over to do the work that we need done.
That's right.
Most of the people we put in and most of the people that we had in there, they're going along voting for what we need and everything. What his problem is going to be with the Republican Party. That's the side he's going to have.
But you know what, Lottie? He has history. He has long-standing history outside of just being a Democrat to have that bipartisan connection that he has. He has a long-standing.
He has that, but it's still going to be a problem because Mitch McConnell now is not wanting to continue to.
But he's minority leader. He's not majority.
He can't do anything anymore.
I know everybody's calling for Democrats to play nice. Oh, it's time for us to unify. But the fact of the matter is a Democratic. It's two Democratic controlled offices, no matter how slim the margin is. So if you want to play, if you don't want to really be about the people's business, then the power is there to just get it done. Just like the Republicans showed us, they got it done the last 4 years.
Exactly.
They didn't care a darn about what we the people thought.
Everything Barack was putting out. Mitch was no, we're not doing that. No,
exactly.
So now we have the opportunity to say yes, we can.
It wasn't up for discussion. We wasn't
exactly.
Right, but I see him a little different in wanting that to happen rather than override them and say it's going to happen, because you can see that in the way he speaks.
No,
he wants them to come together and work together without having to do that.
Well, we can want anything, we want peace, right? And we want joy, and we want bipartisanship, and we want, equality, right? And equity. That's really what we're talking about here. We want equity, but at the same time, we're done asking. We're done asking, and that speaks to Ebony's point. Our vote showed that. If you won't do it, we'll mobilize, and we'll get the people in there to do it. You are replaceable.
That's like that. To the left, right?
Yeah.
Like the Beyonce song. To the left,
to
the left.
We need to keep get out of here.
But what I'm saying is, you have to understand the whole economy. We do that. We don't care what you think. We just gonna move on and do what has to be done. That's what we do.
Yeah,
this is a different situation.
Day shy of a week of him being president. Situation. We will see. That's all we can do.
That's what I said. We gotta wait and see.
We will see
how this plays out, because
so
like I said,
so good.
We're gonna see when they vote. What is it? I think the first weekend in February is when they officially vote on the new stimulus. He put into an executive order to the Treasury, finding out why 8 million people didn't receive their stimulus from before, and to remedy that as fast as they can. But we're gonna see. And my thing is even with the mayoral elections that's coming up, everyone, if you got my vote, I am holding you accountable.
Absolutely.
I'm not playing with y'all. I want to know What are you doing for education? What is happening in New York? What are you doing for us? And if you can't answer that question, then you're not getting my vote.
Absolutely.
Also, the same way you do, Ellen, you always find, you know, just like we did when we did the show with the other politician that was on. The question is always the same thing you just said. What are you gonna do? But they say what they're gonna do. But then when you get in there, your hands get tied, and you can't do what you wanted to do. That becomes a problem because most of the time, just with the male situation, how all of them get in on when they campaign to say what they're gonna do. But then when they get in, they're not doing what they said he was gonna do.
That's the trick. We always ask them, what are they going to do? We need to know what can you do. Right? It's great to have hopes, but we don't give our limitations to your hopes. What can you actually do?
But that's what I want to know. That's most of the time when you say what you can't do, they can't do it when they get in.
Then you can't do that.
I think some people exactly. I think some of it is they just saying what they think you want to hear. But equally thinking to how politics I see in the neighboring town over where I live in Jersey, it's just a lot of people who jockeying for a position, but they want the position, but they don't want the accountability. They don't want the responsibility. They don't want to do the work. They like the title, right? And so that's what I'm saying. You need local, like national government is good, but we need local government.
That's right.
We need strong local government in place because that's where the people are going to feel it the most.
Exactly. But that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, Tamara. Even in the local level, they will tell you, this is what I'm going to do for the community. Okay, we're going to bring this in. We're going to bring that in. But then every time a crisis takes place, because we had this conversation with one of the politicians that came on, and I said, how come every time we have a crisis, we're talking about the same thing about our community doesn't get this. Well, we don't have the equipment for this. Okay, so what happened in between that crisis that we didn't get what you said we don't have in the community?
That's right. You know, a lot of times it's the council, it's city council, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I say. If I think about it in terms of what I see in the neighboring town over from me, it's city council.
That's right.
It's city council. So the mayor, yes, is up there, but they can't do anything without city council.
Exactly.
And city council,
so I'm saying, even with the city council people,
but city council do nothing without us.
Exactly. Without us. Forget that, Ebony, and you're absolutely right. They forget that, and then we don't bark loud enough.
That's right.
We don't bark loud enough to hold them accountable. So they think they're untouchable.
So when they promise us all these things and then they get into office and then those things never happen, it's not because it's not so to say that they can't do it. It's like I'm in and I don't have to do it because no one is going to hold me accountable.
That's right.
To do it.
That's right.
You can't get the people. I'm not going to say everybody, but most of the people, you can't get them to hold them accountable because even when you say, okay, we want all of you to write letters to your council person or whatever about what's going on. They don't write no letters.
I think
I want all of you to come to this meeting tonight because this is what we're going to be talking about. Maybe 2, 3, 5, or 6 may show up. But if they say, oh, we giving a bus trip, to Toyland, they all will be at the meeting.
That is true. But that's by design. But equally, what I would say is, I think like with Ebony's point with Stacey Adams and the other women that was involved, because it wasn't just her. I think a shift has evolved, right? So usually, no, we can't get people to do X, Y, and Z. But no, there's a formula. So maybe somebody needs to be going down to Georgia and sitting, before Stacey Adams and all of those women who organized beautifully communally.
Yes.
And say, okay, how do I do that in Camden? How do I do that in the Bronx? Do I do that in Trenton? Because it ain't no magic in it, but you gotta be able to you gotta be willing to put in the work. But somebody's done it. So it's not like it can't be done. They've done
I think now that we have this new hope, it can be done. I think we can mobilize. You saw what happened with Black Lives Matter. You saw with the young young adults, everyone
Absolutely.
get in the street. We can do it. And there
Absolutely,
are
we can.
people who got the burning fire inside of them ready for it. All we need is
Absolutely.
a cause. Put
Absolutely.
something on a t-shirt.
Absolutely.
Everybody got a shirt. We out. Because I'm telling you right now,
Absolutely.
Donovan Richardson is our the Queensborough president. He's being held accountable. Whoever the mayor is, they're going to be held accountable. Everyone in my district is going to be held accountable because I'm tired of our education down and we got millions and hundreds and thousands of dollars. And then it bothers me because I was thinking about this driving in. I can't, her name escapes me, but the lady who took phonics out of school and said, oh, phonics doesn't work. Whole word works. And then come to find out, X amount of years later, however many $1 million she got, she admitted that her program doesn't work. This is why so many children are struggling to read. Now, if she was a Black woman and got all that money with a program that didn't work, they would have been gunning for her head.
That's
but
right.
Now it's so calm and quiet, but no one is rectifying how we bringing phonics back in.
That's right. That's right.
So everybody got to be held accountable. No more.
That's right.
My
That's
vote
right.
counts.
That's
And
right.
my son is going to be voting in a couple of years, and it's a wrap.
But see,
Everybody got to do it.
But Ebony, when it comes to this, to the education part, the school system part, see, parents has to hold the schools accountable. That's the problem right there. Parents are not holding the schools accountable because when things are happening in the school system and things are going wrong, you need to be at that school door, your child's school door, making noise, and that's not happening because they can't even get them to come to a PTA meeting. They can't get them to come.
They can't even get them to wake their child up.
But this is the problem.
It is, but I think we have a great momentum to shift and follow through with things. That is my hope. And I'm going to do what we can to mobilize and do, because a shift from the top to the bottom needs to happen. So
I
we
agree.
hit the ground.
I
If we're
agree.
so high up, and we changed that with the blink of an eye when all odds was against us. Imagine what we can do at the local level.
That's right.
Well, that's where it starts at the local level. It starts at
That's
the
right.
local
That's
level.
where we feel it the most. That absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, okay, ladies, it's time that our time has run out. Y'all just gets too hot, I tell you. You just gets too excited when we start talking about the government. There's so much to talk about with them and everything, but at least we feel good that we're on the right track.
Yes,
and like
we
you
are.
say, we all have to hold everybody accountable.
That's right.
I hope people wake up this year and hold their council people, their assembly people. They have to hold everybody accountable. And you got to be writing those letters to their office. Ink on a piece of paper is better than the phone call, but you do both, but you make sure you put it on a piece of paper and send it to them. Those are the things that's how we're going to help Biden, by helping getting on the local people under him and stuff. And that's what we really need to do. But I have hope, and I hope you have hope.
Yeah,
That this is going to be a better year, and I just feel something is going to happen. Something is going to happen. We don't know what it is, but look, God is in control. That's all I can say. He's always in control. So whatever he has for us, that's what it's going to be. So
that's
we
right.
want to thank you all for watching us tonight, and make sure you watch us every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. You can see us on Saturdays at 5:30 on M&M and Manhattan Network at 2:30. So as always, we'll see you next time. Bye, ladies.
Bye.
It's Shannon.
Today's show is sponsored by Abu's Bakery. If you have a sweet tooth, stop by Abu's Bakery for some delicious cakes and pies.
It's Shannon. It's Shannon. It's Shannon. It's Shannon.
You know the thing about it. You know what the thing about it is? It's like I hope that our parents. I'm hoping that being home with this pandemic and everything has, has letting parents know how important it is now for them to be in their child's education. And when they do return to school, that you will be involved when they tell you to come up to the school, to come up to the school. If something is going on with your child, then come up to the school to find out what's going on so you can put in place something with the teacher to make sure your children are not failing. Stop waiting to June to come to the school and complain about your child not graduating or whatever, because even with this pandemic, and this thing about, being lax, about they not leaving anybody behind and all that kind of stuff, don't listen to that stuff. Don't listen to that.
They need to leave kids behind.
They don't listen. You better not listen to that.
I guess for me, I've experienced it from a different perspective, and I guess because my role with parents is a little different. I actually have seen parents, or have had the pleasure of seeing parents who, they're doing it. As far as being attentive with it.
Those are the parents that advocate for their children.
Yeah. No, but even the ones who normally just say, you know what I mean, my kids go to school. Yeah, I hear that a lot in my sessions, and just talking about like how hard it is to be working from home and to have children, especially those who have multiple children, and don't even get on the subject of special needs kids, right? And their needs educationally at this time. So, I definitely understand that there are a lot of parents that are lax and remain lax, but I guess I don't want to omit the parents that are doing it, and and don't have the resources, fighting with the Board of Education to get what their children need in an in-home schooling situation, because I know several that IEPs and all of these things. So that's just what I deal with daily. That's one of the hot topics, so to speak, that come into my sessions weekly from several. And so,
it's not that parents don't want to be there for their child and do the right thing and help their child get through the system. It's just not enough parents involved, but we can see a dent generally and see how it's benefiting the kids overall. Yeah, you may have a spot parent, one parent here, two parents there, but it's not enough parents. And we see it in our kids. When they leave them behind, kids, when they can't write, they focus someplace else. Their priorities is all wrong.
Yeah.
And it's not enough.
You're right. A lot of them are not allowed to be kids. Yeah, a lot of them are not allowed to be kids.
Yeah,
Vanessa, there's, it's kind of like, oh, are we going to eat tonight? Oh, what is going to be taken or stolen out of my house? Oh, there is no clean place for me to even sign on to the internet that came free. I mean, there's so many dynamics to it. There's so much.
At the end of the day, who does it affect?
The kids,
our children.
Yeah,
the kids, absolutely, and not to mention the parents that are undereducated. I'll put it that way. Undereducated. Yeah, so I can't help my kid, and it's not even about new math, right?
No,
right. That's right.
Just I can't help my kid because I myself only have a 5th grade education.
Exactly.
So there's just so many variables to it. There are no easy answers.
No, they're not, and you're absolutely right about that. But I'm saying that even before the pandemic, this was happening.
No, I mean it all inclusive.
This was happening. Just that the pandemic made it more difficult. So what I'm saying is, since now you see how difficult it can be, so now you would think about what you were not doing before the pandemic happened to say, because they're talking about trying to get the schools back open this year for the kids going back. So what I'm saying is, so now you should have learned something in between, particular also too, like, I know when people don't have a lot of money and stuff like that, but I do have a problem now with parents. Okay, when this pandemic hit and a lot of the kids did not have computers or laptops or whatever like that, but I know some of these same parents that was when Christmas and the time come, they would be going out there buying all these expensive sneakers and clothes and stuff for the children, but you don't have a computer in the house for your children. You don't have a laptop in the house for your children. That's what I'm talking about.
iPad. I got you.
You will see all of those expensive clothing and sneakers is not as important of you having something in the house to help educate your children. This is
But
what
Lottie,
I'm
let me ask you a question, Lottie. Let me ask you a question. How many parents you know out there that believe that it's the school, the Department of Board of Education's responsibility to teach their child?
The what?
How many parents out there believe that it's the Board of Education's responsibility to teach their child?
Oh, I've heard that plenty of times.
Exactly.
I've heard that plenty of times.
So that's
I've heard that plenty of times, but like I always tell the parent, the board of education can't teach your kids everything.
I understand. We know that's not true, but the caveat of that is that's an excuse that they give, right? Because what, the child is home 5 years before they at least get to primary school.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know what happens?
That's what I'm saying. That's the problem. When I was working, that was the problem. When the kids got to kindergarten and they can't read anything. Like, okay, well, what was you doing from the time they popped out until the time they came to school?
Watching
TV. Learn
watching TV?
No, because they're not teaching them anything. They waited for them to get to school for the teacher to teach. The teacher cannot teach your kid all of that when they get to school. They got too many kids in the class.
I think this is the good thing going back to the Biden administration, or what he has promised or spoke part of his platform of making Head Start and stuff more available for families and stuff like that. Because again, I'm thinking about kind of like those earlier years before you get to kind of public school and stuff like that. A lot of families can't afford. You know, daycare is very expensive, very expensive, pre-K and all that, right? And because all public schools don't offer pre-K classes, right? And nor does pre-K classes and even some kindergarten classes go a full day. So if I'm a parent and I need to work,
that's right.
I want my kid to learn. You know what I mean? Then my kid is going to grandma, grandpa, you know, auntie, whomever.
And then they still not learning.
And they're not learning. Exactly. And so TV becomes the babysitter.
Yeah.
So we have to look at it in all of its textures. That's all I'm saying. Like I said, there are no easy answers to any of it. But I'm glad that Biden at least has that on his radar to make early childhood education available and affordable for everybody, because I think he's even offering for it to be free.
Yeah, that would be great.
They instituted the pre-K because it first started off as a half day. Now they put it, for the full day for the parents is working. But what I still
not where I live. Yeah, not where I live.
Yeah, well, we have it away. But what I was saying, because I still would tell my parents, it doesn't matter whether the kid is in pre-K or whatever, because you have to understand, even in pre-K, they might teach them a little something, but most of the time they're in there sleeping and playing.
No, I totally agree.
You have to be the person also from the time they born. You have to be teaching them something and learning them things. That's what I'm saying. It starts from birth.
Yeah, we are children's first
teachers. Today are smart.
Absolutely.
Those kids are smart. So don't tell me they can't learn. Because when they get on these phones and they can tell you everything at 3 and 4 years old about their phone, and you can't even read the phone yourself. That's what I'm saying. Don't get.
That's right.
The parents get too lax for me. Like, okay, well, they'll learn when they get to school or something like that. No.
You're right. There's all I'm saying is there has to be accountability in all parts.
No. I can
but absolutely that the parents are
exactly.
We are our children's first teacher. You talk about once they get here. I started teaching my son in utero. At our baby shower, instead of people giving cards that I'm going to throw in the garbage, I said, let's build Jira's library, my husband and I. And so in lieu of that, people bought old books. I didn't care if it was their favorite, it was about their favorite book or whatever, wrote a message to him or whatever. He still has those books. We read to him constantly, and he reads to us at 5. You know what I mean? And so absolutely.
Because that's why I say it's not about whether you have any money or not. Because I know people, because I always tell people, don't say you poor, because you're not really poor. You know what I'm saying? You might not have the money to buy everything you want, but stop saying like you poor. Even if you don't have money, that doesn't mean you still can't teach your kid. Because even if you got one book, they'll read that same book over and over until they can learn how to read. This is what I'm saying. You don't have to have a $50 book or whatever. You still can teach the kid something. What it is.
I agree. Color something. But again, every parent is not literate.
Yeah.
That's just real
and
talk.
And you know, it's to me, I'm an educator, but I'm a parent, and I've taught my children myself in a sense, right? And it boggles my mind that we just don't use natural resources. Get a book, get
That's
a
right.
pencil, make flashcards, right? You don't have to buy any of this.
Exactly.
That's right.
And if you don't want to use the scissors, fold the paper, rip it up. We know how to fold that paper in four and get them four squares.
That's right.
Exactly. Flashcards, right?
Exactly.
Have them write their alphabet.
That's right.
There is a list of things. Even if your education stopped at third grade, you can teach your child up until third grade.
That's right.
They can do colors, they can do shapes, they can do numbers.
Exactly. Can buy a thing from the color purple, put in little signs on, the door, the cabinet, a pot, absolutely.
You don't have to go out and spend no money on no flashcards. You can tear up a paper bag and write the letters or anything.
That's what Ebony was saying. That's what Ebony's saying.
That's what I'm saying. You don't have to pay money for anything.
That's
it's
right.
How you do it. It's how you do it, because that's how I told my daughter. I used to put words on the wall, and you used to tell me what all those words are on the wall and stuff like that. And then after a while, we put sentences together. This is what I'm saying. You have to teach them kids yourself. I'm sorry.
Exactly. No, you're absolutely right. My son can tell y'all all about traffic lights and signs. Seriously, green is go, yellow slow down, red is stop. He used to repeat that so much. I was like, why in the world did I teach him that?
When you calling, when you driving.
Seriously, slow down, mommy.
You ain't gotta worry about no secret. You ain't gotta worry about no secrets, because he gonna let you know when to slow down.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now he's like, pick out the signs and all this.
Oh
my God, I kid you not. That is the truth. That is the truth.
Well, let me tell you, I truly believe that this pandemic was not by no accident, no nothing.
No, not at all.
People up.
Yes.
The parents now, they stuck home with the kids. Now you got to spend some time with your kids, because you didn't know your kids before. You didn't.
That's right. Now you believe everything the teacher told you.
Now you think divorces and other divorce rates are going up. No, seriously.
Yeah.
But not just
but they may not know their spouse
in the night.
But they may not know their spouse, but how many of the spouses wasn't always home, so now they got to choose which home they got to be at.
Dr. Vanessa.
Seriously, it's I really don't like this dude. I really don't like this chick.
They don't.
So you wasn't talking about before.
Being quiet and saying to yourself, I don't like me. I don't like who I become.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because when you home alone,
all of these
like,
things.
wait a minute.
All of these things. I don't got no distractions. I can't go to the mall. I can't go out, all this stuff. Yeah, I have no distractions. I have to deal with me.
Yeah.
How do I deal with me? I never had to deal with me.
That's right.
Yeah, because sometimes you're doing something. Because I know I used to have it of doing something. So when people would tell me that, I'd be like, that ain't true. But then when I was home by myself and it was happening, I had to think about it. I was like, oh, I must be telling the truth. Then I was.
Have you having an existential crisis?
Yeah,
for real?
Because you have time to think. You think. This has been last year was a good thinking thing.
It was.
And a lot of
this year is about action.
That's right. The last 10 months, because we almost a year in.
Exactly. And
today is the anniversary of Kobe and his daughter's death.
Yes. And making changes in your life, because I have made a lot of changes in my life now, because I've had time to think about what it was that I didn't see before, because I was so busy going to work, taking care of everybody else and everything. So I never have time to really think that much, but the thinking. So I had to do like Bishop Jake said, you got to be purging people out of your life. You didn't even realize that they were stressing you out and everything.
That's right.
I don't care if they're family or friends or whoever they are.
If you're not healthy, you got to go. Absolutely.
They add so much that dead weight adds so much stress to you, and it just
that's right. Everything
and then you realize how many people are so negative.
I said I ain't stressed, because I got rid of those people that was stressing me out. So now I'm like at peace. I'm at peace. And I know you're not supposed to not be talking to the people or nothing like that. I don't want to say I'm not talking to them, but I don't want to deal with them if I don't have to deal with them. If I want to call you, I don't have to call you, whatever. But I just feel so peaceful now. Like I'm at peace.
Yeah.
I don't even want nobody coming to my house now. Like they thought you don't let nobody in because of the pandemic. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna let nobody in after the pandemic because it's like so
right. But you know what? This is also a time that people became creative. They became entrepreneurs. They found ways to survive.
That's right.
And they found ways to survive. They became creative. It's like, wow, it's all this time, this energy they would have to put for this, and it's like, wow, it's here,
That's right. There's a lot of resilience. Do you know the increase of Black businesses?
Yes.
Seriously.
Yes.
Like as traumatic as the last 4 years, and again, particularly the last one was a little more intense. But there's so many new businesses, and there's platforms that have like from soup to nuts Black businesses. Like directories online and through Facebook and stuff like that and groups. So in that way, it has become extremely beautiful to see the sense of pride and see that Black dollar, to be very candid, circulate in our community a lot longer than historically has been the case.
Exactly. Because it's not circling in the community like it should. But it has increased,
exactly.
For those businesses that's in the community, because we still don't have enough of the Black businesses in the community to see that dollar circulate 10 to 12 times.
But you know what, Vanessa, I think it would circulate much better because, and I'm not saying this for all Black businesses, but first of all, they need to know how to treat people when they come to the store. Because sometimes you go in people's businesses, our own businesses, and they're very nasty, I had to tell a girl up there on Nostrand Avenue, they have a restaurant and everything. I put in an order, right? Because, I want to go out. We sitting here waiting for the order never came. So then when I called back, like, it's been an hour, what happened to the order? Well, we not delivering. That was the attitude. We not delivering. No apology, nothing. That was just a nasty attitude. Well, I said, I've been sitting here waiting an hour, and now you're going to tell me you're not delivering?
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
You could have told me that an hour ago.
I got gas behind, and I said, well, you know what? That's why we don't support y'all now. Okay? So don't be telling nobody about why people don't support Black businesses, because of people like you talking like this on the phone, don't have no kind of remorse or anything for what you did, and you talking like it's nothing. So who's gonna support you?
And the crazy thing too, Lottie, is that they could be dead wrong, but sometimes they forget where they came from. They have arrived and forgot everything and everybody else, and everybody else do not matter.
That's what I'm saying. They don't know how to treat you. So why you want to go in there? That's why
customer service is key.
Because you don't know how to treat you.
Customer service, it doesn't matter what color you are or ethnicity you are. Customer service is key. No ifs, ands, and buts. Quality is another thing, right?
That's right.
Yes, quality counts because we're going to spend the money. We know that. Even when we don't have it, we're going to spend it. So give us a quality product.
Quality, absolutely.
Yeah. Customer service and quality.
Going out with me.
I don't know what it is. It's like some of them, I don't know if they just, I don't know. Do they need training in customer service?
Yeah, they need training. Absolutely.
Because
we need training.
You be talking to people like that on the phone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
So it must be coming from the boss too.
That's what I was just about to say. It's leadership down. My son hates to go out with me because I am an advocate for customer service. Right? It could be at the drive-through. If I have to tell you 3 times my order, I have an issue. That means you are not listening to me.
That's right.
And if you weren't ready to take my order, you shouldn't have asked me, how can you help me?
That's right. That's right. Customer service is big.
Yeah, sometimes they have to be checked.
Yeah, my husband gives Black businesses a lot more grace than I do. I will admit that. My husband, he will give Black businesses much more grace than I do. And his thought is, when non-brown businesses disrespect us or whatever, we still patronize them. So we should tell them about like how you said the lady talked to the lady. His thing is we should tell them and give them an opportunity to correct it. And I get that. But it's like it's some stuff though that is so egregious.
Yes,
you're not getting another dime from me. So it all depends on what level of the transgression. Let's be real. But yeah.
Yeah, let me tell you, I went through McDonald's, right? McDonald's. The young lady at the window taking orders, get to McDonald's, and then she gets smart with me at the window because I asked her, you know, to put my stuff in the bag, and she's getting smart with me. And so I'm looking at her, and young girl, I'm looking at her, and I'm saying, "So what happened? Did something happen to you today?"
Yeah.
Ain't nothing happened to me today. I said, no, something happened to you today because you don't know me. I just drove up. I asked you to put my drink in the bag. So why you getting smart with me? You on the window waiting on people, then that's what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So then she kept getting smart. So I said, well, okay, then tell your supervisor to come to the window.
Mm-hmm.
She calls the supervisor to the window. So she comes and I'm telling her what happened and everything. Now, rather than her talking to me in the sense like, well, you know what, miss, I'm sorry about it. I'm going to have a conversation with her. She come to the window acting ghetto herself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh my God, what is this? I said, what is going on here? You just as bad as she is.
Yeah.
I said, does the manager of this place know that his manager here and the workers like this? Because I'm going to come back another day to speak to the manager. Because something ain't right here. And I told her, you better talk to that young lady. I said, because somebody else might come to the window and she gets smart with them and something might be pulled out of their bag.
Exactly.
That's right.
You know what I did one time? A girl was so nasty to me and her supervisor was nasty also. I told them that I was a secret shopper and by Monday they wouldn't have a job. They was looking like, what?
I love that.
I'm so sorry. I apologize. I said, yeah, I'm a secret shopper and I work for the company.
Wow.
And everything is recorded.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they do.
Now when I go in there, they be like, how you doing? I'm like, I saved your job. Saved your job.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, but
that's a good one, Ebony. That's a real good one.
I want to support our businesses. I really do want to support our businesses, but I don't know what it is. I was like, what is it? They don't know how to treat you.
But it's not.
It's not.
I
haven't had that. I was gonna say I have had great luck with Black businesses.
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes we got to look at it.
I use it. I do my best to patronize Black businesses.
Yes.
And
we got to look at it from the customer standpoint too.
Yeah.
Because sometimes as customers, people feel entitled. I have my own business and I'm dealing with parents. If you don't read the email and you ask me the questions that are outlined in detail, then you think that I'm going to spend another 10 minutes to go through what I already sent you.
Ebony.
You don't care about my business and I don't need your business because you ain't in the
Exactly.
But
you know what, and as a business owner, we have to be prepared to walk away because everybody is not our customer. And I learned that in the business class.
And I know that.
You know,
and
everybody's
I'm okay
not,
with that.
and I'm not, excuse the way I say this, but how they say in the street, I ain't beat for you. Right.
Right.
You know my worth, and I know the worth of my specialties,
right?
You know, and my capabilities. No,
but Tamara and Ebony, you got to also be cognizant of the level of illiteracy that's out there. There's a lot of individuals who can't read.
Well, that's what I said. Yeah, that's what I was saying about
that.
You can't
read. It's the fact that there's so many people who don't want to read.
Right, and right, I agree with you. But there's some people who just really can't read. And they just have,
you know, that's
Vanessa,
absolutely right. I tend not to, as a therapist in my private practice, I tend not to deal with that level of a client in my private practice. But in public health, where I am, and I have helped people fill out forms and stuff like that, because yes, I'm there to help with their emotional, mental, and stuff. But I'm supposed to help, like as a social worker. I deal with the whole person, a holistic perspective, right? So I have to take into account everything that's happening in your communal dynamic, because what is happening in your communal dynamic is going to affect your ability to even be present for therapy.
The therapy and
you know what I mean? So absolutely, you meet people where they are, and I have to do that more in community health sector, then I have to do that in my private practice because
And
there are a little more.
People are embarrassed to say that they can't read and they need help.
Oh, absolutely.